a lot of what you guys focus on is kind of like untraditional, right? Like you talked about how your direct approach to influencers, and I know that you and your business as well do the same thing. Like, I studied business in college, but the business marketing aspects of what I learned are quite different than what you guys employ in your businesses today, right? So like, I think very uniquely, like, can you guys talk about how you guys as influencers personally, like, have been able to use that to like come up with creative, innovative ways to like grow your businesses, right? Like you guys have been able to use social media in a way that like hasn't been taught in a book, right?
Totally.
Like, so can you guys talk about how both of you guys have done that on your guys' own platforms?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the most interesting one right now to talk about is TikTok. Yeah. TikTok has, I would say, smiled fondly on us in the past couple months. We managed to go viral on our brand account and my own personal account a couple times before we launched, which got us great traction. And I think it's so interesting because you kind of throw whatever you think into the algorithm and it spits you out, and either it works or it doesn't work. But when it clicks, oh God, does it click? I mean, I was just filing through hundreds of DMs from people who had no idea about our brand 5 minutes before. Yeah. And then we had so much interest into it. And I think just throwing kind of darts at a wall and figuring out what sticks is, like what you said, new age marketing, right? You can't be taught in a book. It's just seeing what is on the forefront and predicting kind of what you think is going to be the next big thing and just going for it. I really don't think that you can write out a playbook. It's just kind of seeing, what sticks at the end of the day. And I think influencer marketing and all of that, it's so new and there's not been books written on it, and it's really just feeling it out, trying it out. And I think, like what Nicole said earlier, is creating connections with other creators, other influencers, working together. People love the power of a community, and just speaking to a community as your own fans or your own community, or linking up with other creators. I think that's a huge thing also that people are taking advantage of, and we see that now with creator houses and things like that.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with Sabrina. I think that you cannot predict like social media at all. The trends, algorithms, everything changes. I remember when like 3 years ago, even so, now it's just, you can't even just have a story and just post something and then think that you're going to get a sale. It doesn't even work like that anymore. You have to really implement like, TikTok, for example, she's right. That just blew up over the last year because of the pandemic. So, having to just like keep up with the trends is so important. But if you really keep, I guess what it is, I think it's just like keeping up with the content that you see, you'll realize that there is a certain pattern or format that you could follow, and it's really just, like I said, like she also mentioned as well, keeping that relationship with the influencers and then kind of just like going off what their ideas are and, just building off that.
How did you guys figure out how to create such large social media presences with your business pages, actually, instead of personal pages?
I think at the beginning, I was solely focused on Instagram. And then I realized as a creator, you really need to build a brand that's an omni-channel approach, right? So you have to have the Instagram, you have to have the YouTube, you have to have the Galaxy, you have to have all the 9 yards, right? Yeah. And then it becomes the same way in business, where you have to have that omni-channel approach as well. So you're not just trying to capture one audience in one place. And like I said before, I was lucky that in TikTok we went viral a couple times and we got a huge amount of views just from that, but also living in New York and becoming friends with, editors and people in industry and things like that, and just kind of getting your name out and almost like guerrilla marketing tactics, and just really trying to plug your name everywhere you go, plug your brand everywhere you go, talk about it, just be obsessed with what you're doing. People feel that. Yeah. People love that authenticity, and if you're just so aggressively hungry and love what you do, people are going to start to listen. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, was when I was building my brand, I was such a champion for it, and I used all of these channels to be able to speak on it, that people are like, oh, I'm kind of interested now. Like, what's going on? What is this 4 a.m. skin that you keep talking about, What is this? I'm like, well, it's some skincare that's so easy. You can do it drunk at 4 a.m. Or you can do it on the road, getting up at 4 a.m.
Everybody likes that, like,
exactly.
in a 4 sentence, like a four
exactly.
4 word sentence.
You get your tiny elevator pitch, you get the idea, and if you just keep plugging on every single channel that you have, you'll start to get, at first, that cultish following, that then once you hit it and you get lucky on a couple platforms, you just boom.
Big.